Hello, it is Emily, and welcome to one of my Cook With Me's. Today's recipe is my favorite salmon recipe, and I have this with some potatoes. Here I'm just showing you my ingredients. I did show you that I am going to be using my air fryer. I have some lemons. I have my Trader Joe's salmon rub. I have extra virgin olive oil, and I also have my sheet lined for my air fryer. These are the two knives I'm using, and my bowl's out, my strainer out, my potatoes, and then with potatoes I have some salt and pepper out to season it. And then that's the basket I use for my air fryer. Okay, so the first thing you can see me doing is I am slicing my lemon. So I like to use lemon slices to line my sheet that I'm going to cook my salmon on. So I don't put oil down on my sheet, I put lemon slices. So this is something I've seen done in a video a while ago, and I kind of just kept doing it because I do feel like it changes the taste of the salmon, and it kind of takes away some of the fishiness to it. Yes, I understand that we're eating fish. It's going to taste fishy, and I do like fishy tasting things, but it gives it like a brighter, citrusy taste. You could just try it, see if you like it in one of your recipes, but if you're not going to use lemon, you would grease your sheet. I did use about 1.5 lemons, and then I did keep a couple slices of lemons off to the side to put on top of my salmon fillets. Okay, so I am showing you my Cutlery Mania Geezer fillet knife. This is what I use to cut up my salmon fillet into smaller portions. I rather buy a full fillet than this already cut pieces of salmon just because you are going to save money. Okay, so what you are seeing here. So, I don't like to cut raw meats on my wood cutting board. And I also didn't really want to buy plastic cutting boards just in case if you're getting like small pieces of plastic into food, whatever. So I do like to just kind of put a plate under my salmon fillet and cut it this way. It works for me. You use whatever cutting board you have and what you're comfortable with. But here I'm just cutting it into like meal-sized portions. So like when I go to take a piece out, like I would eat this one piece. So this would make about 4 to 5 meals. So it is like a mini meal prep. So I would use a fillet knife versus a serrated blade just because it is going to cut the salmon cleaner. And I am making sure that when I put the salmon onto my cooking tray that I have it on top of the lemon slices. And I will promise you nothing sticks to the aluminum foil, even though I do it this way. You could trust me, girl. Trust me. Okay, so before you put the salmon rub on, you do want to put a bit of extra virgin olive oil on each piece of salmon. Okay, so here I am just using the back of a spoon to spread around the oil. I don't have a basting brush. I could easily pick one up next time, but the back of the spoon also works. So I'm just making sure the top of each salmon portion is lightly covered with extra virgin olive oil. All right, so I love this part. Now you are putting your salmon rub on top of your salmon. I have learned, because I've made this many times, is you do want to be generous. So for this Trader Joe's salmon rub, I am looking at the ingredients. So there's brown sugar, smoked paprika, kosher salt, black pepper, rice concentrate, and dried thyme. Okay, so with my rule of thumb, I try to make sure all parts of the salmon is covered in the rub, but I don't want like a super thick layer of it on the salmon, but you really do have to be generous with this. Okay, and yet again, I am using the back of the spoon to spread around, try my best to evenly spread around and coat all pieces of the salmon portion with the salmon rub. So this is the pretty part of the recipe, and I am using my extra lemon slices to put on top of each portion of salmon. This lemon was huge. These slices are huge. Normally I do use smaller lemons. So every time I make my salmon recipe, I do feel like I kind of play around with if I'm doing air fryer or bake. Personally, I do think I want to stick with baking it, but I do like to try different things. I followed the instructions on my salmon packaging, and I am doing 15 minutes at 350 degrees, but I think online people could say you could go up to 400 degrees. Here I'm just showing you, like, let's not waste a lemon. Like, let's squeeze it into our water because there's leftover lemon and yummy. Not really sure why I'm showing you this, but, like, also who doesn't love lemon water? So since I am doing this in my air fryer, you can't cook salmon and potatoes at the same time. So I am now prepping my potatoes for the side of my salmon. So I do have mini potatoes again. You can buy regular sized potatoes. You would save money that way. Not sure why I keep buying the minis, but I get them at Aldi's. So I went and I washed my potatoes, and this time I'm going to cut my potatoes into more potato chips. So I'm cutting them across thinly. I am also using a serrated knife here. So cut them as thin as you would like. Mine aren't as thin as like a potato chip, but I do cut them a bit thin. So to season my potatoes, honestly, keeping it super simple. So it is in my mixing bowl. I am drizzling a small amount of extra virgin olive oil on top of them. With an air fryer, you don't need to make them greasy. Honestly, I wish I put even less. I am going to put some salt a bit generously. And also some pepper. I am just throwing some garlic powder on it also. I don't know, when I'm cooking, I like to just try to throw random things on and see how it tastes. And it did come out good. I really did not put much though. And then you are just going to mix, make sure everything is evenly coated. Okay, yay, my salmon is cooked. I'm just checking that it's cooked thoroughly. With salmon, when you could smell it as it's cooking, that also shows that it's usually ready. When you could see the white come out of the salmon, also shows you that it's ready. And here I'm just doing my fork test where I'm just making sure that pieces are able to come off pretty easily. That shows me that it's cooked thoroughly. And now I'm just running my air fryer for my potatoes. I'm showing you that I got my nails done. I took a break in between cooking and got nails done. But I did 350 degrees for 30 minutes, but I think I did cook it for like 5 extra minutes afterwards. So for this type of potato, I do put it on the net basket for the air fry option. Here are my potatoes cooking. They're so cute. And here are my potatoes done. So this is about how much I like them cooked. I do like when they brown on the outside. You might want them to be crispier. If that's what you want, go for it. So that's it. Super easy, pretty quick. If you try this recipe, please let me know. I really appreciate you watching this. Enjoy.